I have to say, for someone who doesn't think three's a crowd and the more the merrier when it comes to her innuendos, even though technically doesn't go too extreme, it literally is just them sleeping and then she gets her suck on in terms of sucking of the blood, get your mind out of the gutter. Nazuna has so much about her character that is just so extreme, right? She is so physically, provocative and she knows what she's doing. But once it gets into emotional territory, the way she melts and will roll on the floor being like, don't tell her about the love word. That's the taboo word in this relationship. You want to talk about big old titties, go ahead, but don't talk about the love word. I love the balance that they got going on with this cast of characters, and I was expecting that someone like Akira would be more relevant to the story. There's no way you introduce the childhood friend, and given that she very much still wants to be his friend, so I imagined she would tag along. I just didn't think it would get as serious as it did, where not only does she stay over and plays fighting games to dating sims, she then in return ends up in the bed situation, and the way Nazuna doesn't just let the anime directing just kind of say what we're all thinking. She herself will be like, ooh, we're gonna have a guy-girl-girl situation going on. And I'm like, this girl's got no chill. And I wouldn't change it for anything. I will say though, this episode awoke something in me that I wasn't quite expecting. I want to see Ko have a Let's Play series. Because this man does not play games the way that majority of people would play. He is such an oddball character when playing the generic dating sim, you have the three broads saying, oh, reluctant tsundere, very nice character probably, probably childhood friends there too, come to school, and he's like, nah, I don't want to. They're very loud, they're bothering me in the morning, I'm gonna say no. And then he just starts criticizing it because ultimately the game's forcing him to go to school. And he's like, what's the point of giving the choice? And then I love how the person who he has an interest in, who is the girl who stumbled in after he criticized, what the hell, there was plenty of room, basically calling her an idiot while being pretty polite about it. And then when she runs off, he's very upset because the big titty anime girl that he likes basically wasn't sticking around and now he's forced to go to school with a bunch of broads he doesn't want to. There was something oddly hilarious about how he goes about portraying video games in terms of breaking them down, making fun of them. It's just, there's something about that if we don't get to see his progress in this dating sim, that will be the biggest missed opportunity that this anime has going on for it. Given that they do hint at that they play video games a decent amount, I'm hoping it won't be a one and done thing, and if it is, hopefully there will be some other games that we'll get to witness. I love the Street Fighter stuff, I love the dating sim stuff. And I just love how you have, the third wheel in any other situation, just observing this, what in the actual hell? So apparently if you win, you get kisses, and then he's like, well, no, I've never actually won, and she does that kind of, even if I don't win, and it's like, wait, no, it's just kissing between friends. There's only one kissing between friends in terms of that type of dynamic, and that's friends with benefits, and I love how the dude who is so unable to comprehend love and friendship in general, if you threw the term friends with benefits in front of him, I feel like he'd just die on the spot. But it was great because, mission kind of was accomplished, or at the very least, that's what he thought was happening, because once again, you get my favorite side characters drunkenly watching some couple up there kiss, and they're like, oh, that's awesome, alright, let's keep drinking. I swear to God, I don't know how these guys keep their jobs when they're probably hungover for most of the day, but bless their heart for being in every episode so far. This kid who has no idea what love is now looking at, well shit, she kissed me, and if that's what that is, that means love. Hey, I'm in love, that's awesome. Poor boy didn't understand lust in the slightest, and the fact that she just makes fun of him in the way that she does. I love Ko and Nazuna's relationship. It is such an odd pairing, but there is something hilarious about watching a kid who really doesn't understand emotions in the slightest slowly open up and grow, as you have a very seductive vampire who physically talks all types of stuff that you expect. She's been around the block quite a few times. Apparently that was her first kiss as well. She very much wants to do the naughty and the dirty and the disgusting, and she would probably invent her own fetishes most likely. But the fact that she's so inexperienced, and the fact that she herself is incapable of really understanding feelings, I think that's what makes them such an oddly wholesome couple, even if she does keep the spice cranked up to 100 in any particular scene. And I like how when you introduce someone like Akira, she very much feels like she doesn't know where she belongs either. She wasn't sleeping well. She very much seems like she's going through the motions thinking she has to do it, while simultaneously worrying about her friend for having no future. And I think that's what makes the first couple of minutes of this episode really good, is that it sets in motion her worries and also setting us to understand that she's not doing that well herself by the looks of it, and then seeing her be kind of incorporated into the scenes and her having probably the first good night of sleep in who knows how long, as she now realizes that even though she still wants to pull him to school, he does have a goal. It's not like he's wasting his life. And you could argue, well, he just wants to be a vampire. But I mean, bitch, please, if you become a vampire, you got no damn worries in the world. You don't have to worry about getting a job or anything. You can basically do whatever the hell you want once you're a vampire. I mean, if you probably take the average of everyone in their class, he probably has the most intense goal, all things considered. But I like how the show, it's not taking itself too seriously while giving enough serious-esque elements that it makes the characters feel like they have depth in between the funny, the goofy, the erotic, and everything else that we see. And honestly, for a show that doesn't let the backgrounds explode in excitement, there's not constantly cars driving by, there's not constantly events going on in the background. The most eventful things we see at night is literally the three drunken fools, and while I love seeing them, you know, arguably they're not the most exciting thing in an anime scene, but seeing how the city continues to feel like a character alongside the main and supporting cast, Call of the Night definitely has a style that I can't really compare to other anime, because there isn't really a show that lets something like the beauty of the night take hold and let the characters explore that and basically feel like they're discovering themselves without any real drama or baggage holding them down. Yeah, the characters have baggage in the way of Nazuna not being able to open up romantically or that deep of an emotional connection, even though clearly a blind man can see that she's starting to have feelings, even if not romantic. She's having some genuine feelings of, at the very least, friendship with this boy. He doesn't understand so many things and is in that awkward age, and he's growing up and learning so much. And now you have this friend who very much kind of has like a slight hint of depression, but more so just kind of feels lost in the sea of trying to figure out who you're supposed to be in life. The teacher says we should have a good sleep schedule so that when we go into the adult world, we're body's ready and can navigate it. She's following the rules but feeling lost in the process, and I think they're doing such a great job letting that scenery and letting these pretty empty locations. Look at Nazuna's apartment, it's empty. There's a TV and a Sega console, but there's not much going on, but it feels more full of life than so many shows chock full with buildings and people walking in the background, and I think that's where the less is more approach comes into play, where this show knows that an empty location that's beautiful to look at can be far more compelling than something that's busy with cars and people walking and people fighting and talking. No, Call of the Night is masterclass at its atmospheric directing, and I'm glad to say that I'm continuing to enjoy the character interactions more as it progresses. First couple episodes, very well done, very much enjoyed. But the past two episodes, I actually feel like some major progress is being made without rushing into a specific moment or action. Either way, I'm excited for more Call of the Night, and I'm excited to see where the bonds between all three of them will go, and if any other characters will be introduced at some point in the show. But thoughts down below, what did you think? And what did you think of the unofficial threesome that wasn't going maybe as dirty as some people might think, but still, all things considered, Nazuna knew what she was doing with that phrasing. So thoughts down below, leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. Until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.